Well, today is March 31st, Thursday, March 31st, and we've got Hero waiting in the way back, and he's sitting patiently. So let's take a look at how patient he is. If I can find him again, let's see. How about this side? Oh, there he is. That's just about where he climbs under the brush to sleep. That's where he lives, back there. Now that is pretty far away from the house. If I can zoom out, you can probably hardly see him. And he's going to kind of come on up here to that little pan over in the center of the screen. For my friends on Facebook that I'm going to post this, Hero has been living on this property for about 3 years. He's feral, wild dog. The property before we moved in 2 years ago was abandoned for 15 years prior to that. So everything you see in the back is all grown up. We've taken out old side buildings and sheds and fencing and garbage, and this dog has probably lived there. A neighbor told me that he was very, very mistreated by a handler who one day whipped him and threw him outside of the fence and wouldn't let him back in. And again, it's hearsay from one person to another person, and people stopping by the house now and then. So I can't really confirm who that was, but he said he never went back. He was so traumatized, and he's been living in these woods. So he's an Alaskan Husky, and he's in pretty good shape. I started feeding him regularly last fall, and he was very, very thin, lots of bones you could see. So he just eats what he's kind of an opportunistic eating dog. He'll get roadkill or who knows what he eats, but he's survived. Neighbors see him drinking out of the pond now and then. So today's a good day. It's about 45 degrees, 42 degrees. We had a windstorm about 50 degrees last night. So he's doing well, but the real problem is when winter comes and it's 0 degrees. And as you can see, he takes a long time coming up here. He always walks a few steps and then he stops, and then he'll take a few more steps and he'll watch the house. And let's see if we can find him again. He just kind of just goes a little bit at a time. But the goal here is to befriend him, to try to make friends, and maybe get him some little health. Check for things like worms and ticks and fleas, and I don't know how I'll go about it, but we're gonna start trying. He looks very healthy now. We've been eating a warm meal every day since October, maybe even September. And then starting about a month and a half ago, 2 months, I started filming every day. And the reason it's kind of boring film, but it's just to people help me figure out his change in his mannerisms, when he looks like he's stressed out, when he doesn't. And a few days we've tried sitting out on the porch, and that I thought would be a goal for this summer. But luckily we're able to sit outside about maybe 200 feet, maybe 150 feet from the bowl, and we didn't move, and he stayed, and he came up and he ate. Once I tried whistling, and as soon as I whistled, he bolted like a deer. You can see how cautious he is. He gets up on that little hill now and then, and just so he can see around. He wants to check out. He watches the house a lot before. We've also put on pieces of clothing out by the bowl, so he'll smell our scent and know that we don't mean him any fear. The first time we did that, he jumped from it and ran back away, and then he kind of circled around. And now he seems like he's much more calm. He'll push a piece of clothing right off of his food bowl and to get to it. He watches the house like on a regular basis. He watches the door. He's always looking to see if anyone's watching him. I'm upstairs. It looks like he's looking at us, but he's always watching the front of the side of our house, making sure we don't come out the door. Also, we've been putting a few little pieces of scrap of food out from his bowl. You can see a little light piece, a couple pieces, one in front of the stick and behind the stick. And then what we're trying to do is get him used to coming closer to the house. Some days he looks a little nervous doing it, and last couple of days he just kind of strolled up. Sometimes he'll eat half of his food, come up, look for the little treats, and then go back to his food. If he doesn't get those little treats, there's lots of feral cats around the neighborhood that they come by and they'll start looking at his bowl, trying to see if he left a little nugget or surprise there. So, like I said, I feel so sorry for when this dog gets in winter or a foot of snow out there, or it's 3 degrees below zero, and he just lays on the ground underneath the fallen tree and bushes and hides. The only reason I see is I follow his tracks to see where he's going. But if I get even close to where he's at, he's gone the backside. So there's a lot of ways in and out of that little shelter that he found. So now that I'm retired, we have lots of time to take care of him. Our only thing is if we go away, we're going to have to get a neighbor to make sure that they keep food in the bowl at 5 o'clock or around there, just to make sure he eats. Zoom in on him, see how for those who don't know, he has a collar on, so when for the 6 years he's had the same collar around his neck, it's hard to see when his fur is a little thick. I worried about it being a little too tight, but 6 years, I think he's pretty fully grown, so if it hasn't bothered him yet, it probably won't. I hope it doesn't. One of the changes we noticed is that now when he's relaxed and he eats, when he's finished, he'll just usually do a little pee or something real close to his bowl, at least in the area, probably to mark his scent for the cats. You can see how close he's coming now for his little treats. And look, he's looking around to say, hey, is there any more? I put him in a kind of a straight line. I think there's one right in front of that little stand for the flower. But his nose is so good, he can really, he can smell something and he knows it's still around. If he comes straight forward, he'll find one more. It's amazing that he can eat out of the bowl and smell all that hot food and then still know that there's scraps in the grass. So if he comes one more time, I know he smells something. Keep going straight and you'll find it. There it is. Oh, so close. Now he's going to take off. And that's how close. Usually he'll mark a scent far away. When he runs like that, it's usually having fun. He'll leap over things. But we nicknamed him Hero because he's a hero for living out there so long by himself. Okay, well, that's it. And have a good day, and we'll see you on Friday.